Since categorizing all of your transactions can sometimes be very labor intensive and take a good amount of your time, which you would love to spend operating your business, QBO has additional functionality to take off some of the workload. One of those items is creating rules. I will add a very strong word of caution here. QBO, when it creates the rules, it is a very black and white. It does not understand any gray. So if you create a rule, you have to be very particular and make sure that your qualifications are very precise. You also want to make sure that every month you are going through your detail reports just to make sure QuickBooks is doing what you actually would like it to do. To start creating a rule, we can select a transaction that occurs repetitively and is always treated in the same manner every time the payment comes through. And when we select that item, down at the bottom, we can click Create a Rule. This will open a new window to the right-hand side. So we want to Google subscription, create that rule. It will allow us to apply this transaction to money that is spent or received, and we can apply it to multiple bank accounts. And then here you can see we want it to include all transactions where the description contains Google. We want to be very, very careful about setting up these conditions because there are instances where items would be treated differently. A great example would be Amazon. Amazon Marketplace products would likely be treated differently than when you make a purchase of an Amazon video. But both transactions would contain the name Amazon, so that would be treated differently. Google also, maybe you have an email account, but you also pay for advertising services. In this case, the email account and the advertising services would go into two different buckets. So we need to be very, very careful about the description. And then we have a few more additional options. And then this will automatically add it in. So the idea here is, depending on the conditions that we select, QuickBooks will apply this rule and categorize this item automatically every time the bank updates and it identifies this transaction within your banking activity. Again, be very, very, very careful when you are setting up and using any of these rules. If the rules are set up incorrectly, it may cause some headaches down the line, but if you are very intentional and very careful with this setup piece, it is an option. QuickBooks really, really, really pushes this functionality because when used properly, it will make your life a little bit easier. But it is a little more labor intensive than just clicking OK to whatever QBO suggests. So please keep in mind that we do want to be a little bit careful when using these rules. What I normally love to use instead is go straight on the bank feed, and I will still get a lot of really, really, really great suggestions. You can click Recognized, and here QuickBooks will already provide items that it has recognized based on the categorizations that I have done previously. So there are ways to speed up your process without getting into some of those tricky rules, but that's a little overview on creating a rule.